Catherine Knight, an Australian woman born in Fairfield, Australia, in 955. Like many people who have committed initial crimes, comes from a dysfunctional family with a rather tough childhood in which she grew up being abused by various his relatives and watching his alcoholic father beat and abuse her mother. And despite the fact that at school she was sometimes a bit of a problem, Catherine used to be quite well behaved and even won some awards for her good behavior, but at the age of 15 she left her studies without knowing how to read or write, to work in a clothing factory, to then a year later work in what she called her dream job, which was work in her local slaughterhouse. Catherine showed her great skill in this job and was promoted within a few weeks. In the year of 973, she met her co-worker named David Keller at Stanford, and with whom, at her request, they will marry in 1974. I didn't take long for David to see that Catherine wasn't very right in the head when she tried to strangle him on their wedding night just because he fell asleep after having sex 3 times in a row with her, and she wanted a fit arrange. Already that she considered that 3 times was very little. So it is not much happened, and soon after together they had a daughter. But after several more attacks, David, fearing for his life, had no choice but to escape to a friend's house. And later, in the hospital, he was treated for a screw fracture caused by Catherine, who hit him with a frying pan for coming home late for playing a dart throwing tournament. But despite all this, Catherine managed to convince him that she was not will file charges against him. Later, Catherine would have met a man named Dave Saunders, with whom she will maintain in a relationship and live with him, but it will not last long. As with Kellett, it was a constant of abuse and physical aggression that culminated when Catherine slit his dog's throat, telling her that would happen to him if he decided to cheat on her. Besides, she nailed a pair of scissors. Dave separated from her, and they will never see each one other again. In 997, she became pregnant by John Chillingworth, a former co-worker, and the following year she gave birth to their son named Eric. Their relationship lasted 3 years. This will be their most stable relationship and without many problems until she left for her lover named John Price, who was already the father of 3 children when she had an affair with him. So in 998, they fought because he refused to marry her. So in realization, she records a video when she showed the items he had already stolen from work and sent to his boss, from which Price was fired for his job and which he had been for 17 years. On that same day, he angrily threw her out of his house so that Catherine had returned to hers. A few months later, they will resume their relationship, only this time refused to let her move in with him and will sign her death warrant. On February 29, 2000, Catherine bought sexy underwear and placed it by her precious knives and strategic points in Price's house. Her plan was already done. The tragedy was about to happen. Sometime later, she met Price at his house. That day, they had sex and drank alcohol. So she took advantage of the moment to give him pills and then stab him 37 times and leave his house with $1,000 with which she bought some things. She returned to the house and proceeded to skin Price with butcher knives from the slaughterhouse where she worked and hung his skin on the wall. Then she cut off his head and put it in the boil with some vegetables. In the oven, she put a part of his buttocks and an arm with baked potatoes, some vegetables and meat sauce. She set the table and next to each plate. She wrote a note with the name of each of Price's children, who were expected to join this macabre banquet when they returned to the Price house. Thanks to the fact that a few hours before, John joked with his colleagues at his new job, telling that if he didn't stop up for work, it was because something very bad happened to him, and that because of what happened, The next day, he didn't show up for work. He began to look suspicious, so his boss contacted the police. When the police arrived, they found a scene out of a horror movie. Everything was full of blood, and various pieces of body scattered around the house. Price's skin was resting on the wall, while Catherine was cooking parts of her body in the kitchen. In the backyard, there were remains of another meal that, according to what police believe, they were remains of his dinner made from Price's corpse. Catherine was tried to convicted by the New South Wales High Court in 2001, making her first woman in Australian history to be sentenced to life in prison. In June 2006, Naik attempted to appeal, arguing that a life sentence without the possibility of parole was too harsh for murder. Probably for her horrific murder she committed, and nothing changed as her sentence remains the same. And well, here comes today's video with the end of this macabre story of Catherine Knight, the woman who killed her partner to feed their children. This is undoubtedly a very strong story with nothing more to say. Tell me if you liked the video and if you would like to make more videos like this. In the description I will leave in my Twitter account, and if you subscribe to the channel, do not doubt that we will be seeing each other until the next.